Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'll be unboxing this. It's a Famiclone console. Looks like it comes together with a couple cartridges as well. So in case you're wondering what a Famiclone is, the words are a portmanteau of Famicom and Clone. Because the Famiclone is basically a clone of Nintendo's Famicom system or family computer, which was released in the 1980s and is Japan's equivalent of the Nintendo NES. So let's start opening this up. So it looks like it comes with 3 games. You've got a Dragon Ball Z game in the front. The other 2 I'll have to take them out to find out. But let's just look at the console for now. So as you can see, it says Game Computer. It tries to sort of emulate the style of a Famicom with sort of its white and sort of maroon and moon color scheme. An interesting thing to note is if we look at the actual art on the front, the buttons which are labelled power, as well as the button that's labelled reset. That's might be a bit hard to see. There goes reset. They're actually reversed, so the text is actually backwards. And unlike a traditional Famicom, which has the 2 controllers hardwired into the back and one port at the front to plug the controller in, this one seems to have just 2 controller ports at the front, which I'm going to assume one for each of the included controllers, and you plug just both controllers into the front. Looking at the actual artwork, and then I think, although I can't read it, I'm going to guess that maybe this has some built-in games. AV cable, USB, yeah. That's something else. It seems there's 2 colors of it. This one has got the reverse colors, so red and white, and it controls backwards compared to what's on the front. So I'll try to open it without actually damaging the actual box. It seems this one's been removed before, so hopefully it should just peel off again. Looks like this side's not even in, so I'm gonna guess this side's been opened before. It's very tight. There we go. I think it's upside down. So there's a few things that falling out. Let's take the other things out as well. So here's the console. And nothing else in this cardboard. So I'll just put the box to the side. So the console is fairly small and fairly light. It's only slightly bigger than the actual port for the cartridges themselves. And just for comparison, that's just a DVD. That's just slightly larger than the actual DVD itself. Looking at the buttons, they are labelled correctly, with power being labelled with text facing the right way, as well as reset, which is the opposite order they had them in the box. So I guess they had to flip the image to make it look better or something, and then they just pasted the with the console on top. So here's the dust cover on the cartridge port, and if we look, we can see a ribbon cable. But based on the weight, I'm going to guess it's just NES on a chip. This is quite light, so I'm going to guess there's nothing in. So I'm going to guess there's nothing really going on internally in terms of hardware. And the issue with this door is they don't seem to actually line up properly. So you can see now that one is slightly further down. Put that in. Now this one's further down. They don't match up quite correctly. Here is just some paperwork. looks like whoever manufactured it put some handy instructions in, though I can't read these. Tells you how to plug it in. This gets a power from USB, and this one just goes straight to the TV. Here the controllers are quite small, say game computer. It is in the same style as the original Famicom controller, although the button placement is slightly off with the B and A buttons. They are quite small, and they seem to use the same standard style of connector lots of these early systems used. Let's plug that in. It's a bit of a tight fit. The other controller just here unwrapped. So I'll probably only be using one controller. One thing to point out is that neither of these controllers have a microphone. For certain games like The Legend of Zelda, which use microphones for certain features, for a certain feature won't be able to be used correctly. Here's the back of the device. It has the DC in jack and AV out. So I'll plug the AV in first. And here's the USB power cable. Rather than having a micro USB or mini USB cable, I've decided to use a barrel jack, which lots of things use. I'll use the supplied adapter instead of one of my own in the back, as opposed to one of my own, just to make sure it uses the right voltage. Because looking at the back, it doesn't seem to list what voltage it's supposed to take. I'm going to guess 5 volts based on the USB, but you can never be too sure. I just plugged the other end of the USB into my computer, so that way it should hopefully be able to get enough power. This is my laptop. So I just plugged it in now. I've set it up so this should display it as soon as I press the power button. And there we go. So it looks like it does have 30 built-in games. Let's check what the reset button does. So this resets the console so you can get back to the menu. So let's check the buttons. Down goes down, up goes up. Right skips pages, left goes back pages. B does nothing on this, and A, you just select a game. Here's one called Whale. Let's click start. We can go right, left, can't go up and down. Looks like we drop bombs on different animals. So both A and B both drop bombs, and it looks like they shoot as well. And we have to dodge them. I played a game similar to this before on a different console. It's a bit hard to play one-handed given the set of buttons I need to use. Let's press this reset button and go back to the menu. Let's try a different game. Transmission. Okay, so with this little ball at the side, looks like we need to, I guess we need to collect those, but maybe not. So looks like we do need to collect them, like going around. These small bits on the right allow us to teleport to different places. There we go. Might be out of luck to get that first one. So we travel around trying to collect them. It's a bit difficult to go around corners because as you can see, I'm in the top right now. I'm pressing right and it can't go right, so I need to go a bit further down. So it's not very clear where the actual end of the sprite is. Collision detector's a bit off. I won't go playing through all these games. I might try some of them out in a future video. might even do a review or something, but that's it for this part for now. I think we'll try out some games. So here's a packet of games. I'm taking liberties to cut the tape. I should be able to take them straight out. Looking at in the back, looks like it's Captain Tsubasa. So I think it is. We have Dragon Quest II. And last but not least, Dragon Ball Z. So let's see what happens when we just put one in. Okay, it's game over, but I think that's probably unrelated. It's very hard to push in, and as you can hear, it makes a weird noise, so the internals don't really like it. Let's reset it. And it seems to go into what I'm guessing is the intro for the actual game itself. Dragon Ball Z. Got some decent graphics for the Famicom. A card-based game. I'm interested to see what happens if we turn it on when the cartridge is already in it. Because when we did it without the cartridge, it booted up into that 13.1 menu. So I'll turn the system off. And let's turn it on again. Looks like it does just boot straight into the game. It must have something to detect if there's a cartridge in the system or not. Yeah, reset still takes us to the intro screen for the actual game. So I'm going to remove the cartridge, and as you can see, very hard to remove. It's quite tight, and I push it in. It's quite difficult to remove. So I'll try switching hands, so I get more leverage. As you can see, it's very difficult to remove. You'd actually need two hands to actually remove it. Yeah, so I pulled it out just then, and I needed to use both hands, one to grip the cartridge, one to grip the console. I need to use quite a bit of force, so that's probably not very useful over the long term. It's very tight when it comes to the games. Maybe because this is a bit of a different sized / shaped cartridge compared to one of these other cartridges, it might be a bit more difficult to remove. So I'll try it out, because it does seem to be a bit slightly wider, or maybe not, but it's a bit of a different shape, so I might have to see if maybe a different cartridge is easier to remove. That one will require a bit of force pushing. So, yeah, this one's also quite tight, very difficult to remove. So it looks like you do need to use two hands, which I think is a bit of a disadvantage of using a system like this. You need quite a large amount of force to just remove the cartridges between play session. And since this is such a small and light console, it isn't really something I like. So I think that's it for this video. If you liked the video, like the video, comment down below, and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos like this.